there's really just no point in me even attempting to review this movie, is there?
And then the world will show you a little something called success. Do whatever it takes. Never take no for an answer. When you get knocked down, get up. Work harder than ever before. And make sure you are headed for the next level. Next level of success. Next level of champions. Next level of greatness.
Yeah, screw that. Oh, it's so hot today. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the sequel to Marvel's 2014 gamble Guardians of the Galaxy, or as it was known in Asia, the Interplanetary Unusual Attacking Team, which, man, that's better. Guardians of the Galaxy was Marvel's riskiest property yet, with risky not really being a thing when it falls under the protection of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but essentially they were asking you to care about a bunch of no-name superheroes that even your nerdy friend who owns one too many fedoras didn't know anything about. One of which is a talking tree. But the gamble paid off, and Guardians of the Galaxy proved to be the funniest, freshest film in the MCU since Iron Man kicked the whole thing off. In Volume 2, Marvel have taken the if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach and given us pretty much more of the same, except this time, the team are already well established and Star-Lord's dad, who was quite a big mystery in the first, tracks him down and makes himself known. On the trees of Baby now. Baby Groot is such an instant win for writer-director James Gunn. I mean, look at him, he's just so cute. Oh. Dude can probably retire just on the commission from Baby Groot plushie sales alone. Baby Groot charms the pants off the audience immediately, right from the opening scene. A scene which I thought was very good at setting up the fun tone for the rest of the movie to follow. I was a bit worried going in that Baby Groot was going to be a bit too much of a focus and have far too significant a role, because that's where they're going to be able to sell all the merchandise, but it's not like that at all, which is good. In fact, Volume 2 is much more about the relationship between all of these characters. Just about every character gets their backstory explored a bit deeper and gets to have a relationship with another key character take the spotlight at one point or another. Unfortunately though, that does not apply to Tommy Flanagan's Tulk. Tommy Flanagan, I think, is great. He's also from Glasgow and he played my favourite character in Sons of Anarchy, which I friggin' loved. So when he announced that he was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I was like, yeah! And then he's only in it for like 5 minutes. I was like, ah. Oh. Conversely though, surprisingly, Michael Rooker's Yondu steps up to the plate and evolves from a secondary character in Volume 1 to pretty much the standout character in Volume 2. This movie actually answers a lot of the unanswered questions from the first, so the key relationship and the focus of the movie is between Star-Lord and his newly discovered father, but he ain't no normal father because he's Ego, the living planet. Yeah, it gets weird. What's even weirder though is that everybody just immediately accepts this, and at no point is anybody like, mate, your dad's a planet. Just about every major character except Ronan is back, and that means, obviously, actors reprising the roles. Chris Pratt is funnier than ever, and for my money, one of the best castings in the whole of the MCU. And I hope that when Infinity War finally rolls around, that he won't just be relegated to the sidelines. Although with the amount of characters that's going to be in that film, I'll be surprised if anyone gets more than about 10 seconds of screen time. Reprising their voice roles are Vin Diesel's Baby Groot, which, is that really necessary? You probably get paid multiple millions of dollars to say the same 3 words that they've already got on tape. And for the first one, I can maybe kinda get it because he's a big name and he's got a very distinct voice, but in this time he's playing a baby, so the voice is all modulated and high pitched. It doesn't sound anything like him. We've also got Bradley Cooper's Rocket Raccoon, who, ooh, that sounds dead rhythmic. Bradley Cooper's Rocket Raccoon. Bradley Cooper's Rocket Raccoon. That's Bradley Cooper. That's Bradley Cooper's Cooper. That's Bradley Cooper's Cooper. Cooper Kappa Kappa Kappa. Ah, what am I doing in my life? It's with the new characters that this movie falters. Forgetting about all the stuff with egos, there's really no way to talk about that plot thread without getting into spoilers, but what I will say is that Kurt Russell is very good. There's this new race called the Sovereign, and they're all entirely gold-skinned and look like Liberace had to go out playing The Sims, but they're also entirely boring, and every time they're on the screen it sort of slows it down and you're like, ugh. Can we just move on? This is easily, by a mile, Marvel's best looking film to date. The colours are so vibrant and pop out of everything, which makes a change from all the muted, muddy colour palettes of superhero films these days, where everything has to be gritty and grungy. I saw this in standard 2D, and I tell you what, I actually want to go back and see it in IMAX. I think this is a film that really is worth paying that little bit extra to see it on as big a screen as possible. The visual effects are amazing, and James Gunn, along with his talented effects artist, do a fantastic job job of world building and bringing these strange creations to life, quite literally in the case of Eagle. Volume 2 is much more of a straight up comedy movie than the first, and a huge part of that has to come down to James Gunn. I feel like Marvel might have learned a bit of a lesson with Joss Whedon and how public he was about getting burnt out on making the Avengers, so this feels a lot more like Gunn's been given free rein after the success of Guardians 1. This results in a much less formulaic movie than I was expecting from Marvel, which works out for the most part. Gunn is a funny writer and the jokes are very frequent, if not consistent. There's definitely a significant number of jokes that don't land, and one or two that drag on to the point where it's noticeable. But overall, he does a very good job of following up Guardians of the Galaxy. The biggest strength of that movie was how much of a surprise it was. Nobody had particularly high expectations for it, but it turned out to be a massively fun, playful movie that exceeded everyone's assumptions. With number 2, we expect that. And without the element of surprise, it's clear that number 2 just isn't as good. It's not as consistent, it's not as coherent, and it doesn't flow as well, but it does have a huge amount of heart, a lot of humour, and it's surprisingly emotional. I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 4 popcorns. It's still a solid movie and a good chapter in the MCU. And as always, stick around for the end credits because we actually get 5 post-credit scenes. Thank you very much for watching my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. If you want another Marvel review, you can click that box to see my review for Doctor Strange. If you want more from James Gunn, you can click that box to see my review for the Belko Experiment, or you can click that box to see my latest video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this film, and again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.